Hello, this is Math 6, Lesson 4-2, Applied Properties of Equality. In this lesson, you'll be able to use the properties of equality to write equivalent equations. You will also identify which properties of equality are used to write equivalent expressions. Let's look at solve and discuss it. Start with the equation 4 plus 8 equals 12 and complete each computation listed below. Do each computation individually, which of the computation keeps the equation true? Explain. Okay. So you start with the same card, 4 plus 8 equals 12. And then you're gonna do different computations. So first one, your computation to do is adding 5 to both sides of the equation. Okay, so you add 5 to both sides. So what do you get? 4 plus 8 plus 5 and 4 plus, no. 12 plus 5, are they equal to each other? 4 plus 8 is 12 plus 5 is 17. And 12 plus 5 is 17. So yes. What about the second one? Add 3 to the left side and add 5 to the right side. Oh, 4 plus 8 plus 3. So we're adding 3 on the left side. Is 15, and 12 plus 5 is 17. 15 is not 17. Okay, results are not the same. The third one, divide left side of the equation by 2. Okay, 4 plus 8 divided by 2 is 12 over 2, which is 6. Multiply the right side of the equation by 2. 12 times 2 is 24. 6 is not 24, so they're not equal to each other. The last one, subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. 4 plus 8 minus 4 is 8. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 is equal to, 8 is equal to 8. So the results are the same. Okay, so when are the results the same? The equation stays true when the same quantities are added or subtracted from both sides. Okay, the equation stays true if you add or subtract the same quantities for both sides. Okay. So let's look at focus on math practices. Complete the equation 7 plus blank equals 10 minus blank by filling in the missing numbers. Describe at least 2 other operations with numbers that you can do to each side of the completed equation to keep it true. So here we have 7 plus something, and that needs to equal to 10 minus something. What is one example? They have to be the same. You can both make it 9. Like the numbers that go into each of the blanks don't have to be the same. So whatever you're adding needs to match up with whatever you're subtracting. Okay, so how about you add 1? 7 plus 1, that's 8. In order to get 8, how many do you have to subtract from 10? 2. Okay, what about 7 plus 2? You need, then you get 9. So you need to subtract 1 from 10 in order to get 9. Okay, And you can have multiple other examples. 7 plus 3, and it's 10. So 10 minus 0, and so on. So you can add, from here, you can add and subtract the same numbers, the same quantities, in order to make them equal to each other. Okay, so you get the idea. Let's think about how we can use the properties of equality to write equivalent equations. Example 1. Define properties of equality. Remember that equation uses an equal sign to show that two expressions have the same value. Okay, so look at this picture. They have the same value because how no matter the shape, if they weigh equally, if the values are equal, then they're gonna be balanced. So look at this equation. 5 plus 3 plus 2 is equal to 8 plus 2. Okay, which is 10. So look, there's a addition property of equality that states that the two sides of an equation stay equal when the same amount is added to both sides of the equation. Okay. There are many other properties. So subtraction, multiplication, division properties of equality all say that if you add, subtract, multiply, or divide the same numbers, then the equation is going to stay the same. So let's look at try question. If 5y equals 25, which property of equality was used to keep the equation 5y minus 7 equals 25 minus 7 equal? So from 5y equals 25, what has changed? -7. You subtracted 7 on both of the sides. So which property are we using if we're subtracting the same quantities to both sides? The subtraction property of equality. Okay, you just needed to state the name of the property that you used. Convince me, what other properties of equality could you apply to keep the equation 5y equals 25 equal? Give an example for each. So we have 3 other properties other than subtraction property. So we're going to give an example for each one. Okay, addition property of equality, and we have multiplication property of equality, and we have division property of equality. Okay, so what's an example for addition? You add the same number. So from 5y equals 25, you're going to add the same number. You add 2 or 3. Okay, it just needs to be the same. I'm going to add 5 on both sides. What about multiplicative property of equality? 5y equals 25. You multiply the same numbers. You can multiply 2 on both sides. What about division property of equality? 5y equals 25. You're going to divide the same numbers. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. Okay? These could all be an example. You can just pick any numbers. It doesn't have to be 5 or 2. All right, example 2, apply multiplication and division properties of equality. The scale balances with 1 blue X block on one side and 4 green blocks on the other side. Franklin put some more green blocks on the right side, and now the scale is not balanced. What can you do to make the scale balance? Which property of equality justifies this? Okay. So it looks like the green blocks are heavier than this blue block. So you might want to take some out, right? there were 4 blocks on the right side of the balance originally, and now there are 12. How many times this greater as 4 is 12? Right, this is 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 blocks, right? 3 times what number is 12? 4, right? Oh wait, 4 was the original one. So, so yes, 4 times 3 is 12. So it's 3 times this great. So how would you determine the number of X blocks needed on the left side to make the pans balance? You're going to do the same thing. Multiply the same thing times 3. Okay, so you have X times 3, which is 3X. So 3X is equal to 4 times 3. All right, use the multiplication property of equality. Example 3, apply addition and subtraction properties of equality. Mary Joy says you can add 12 to each side of the equation. Y minus 12 equals 30, and the equation will still be true. George says you can subtract 5 from each side of the equation. Y minus 12 equals 30, and the equation will be true. Who's going to be correct? Okay, let's see Mary Joy's plan. You add 12 on both sides. Okay, the addition property of equality says if you add the same number, your equation is still going to be true. So Mary Joy is true. George, he's going to subtract 5 on both sides. The subtraction property of equality says that you can subtract the same amount from each side and the equation should still be true. So they're both correct. Okay, let's look at try a question. Part A, a scale balances with 4 blue X blocks on one side and 36 green blocks on the other side. Complete the equation to balance the scale with only 1 blue X block. Okay, we got 4 blue X blocks and we want it to be 1 blue X block. Okay, and then 4 blue X blocks would be balanced with 36 green blocks. So we're gonna make it the equal number by doing the same operation. So in order for 4x to be x, you need to divide by what number to get 1x? Okay, 4 divided by what would be 1? 4 divided by itself is 1, right? So then you're going to divide by 4 on both sides. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. So x is 9. Part B, if 25 plus d is equal to 36, this 25 plus d minus 25 equals 36 minus 20. Okay, so look at our original equation. 25 plus d equals 36, right? And your subtraction property of equality says you have to subtract equal numbers to make the equation true. You're subtracting 25, you're subtracting 20. Are they equal number? No. You need to subtract the same amount. So explain it. The same amount must be subtracted from both sides of the equation. Okay. So let's summarize our lesson. We learned all these properties of equality today. Addition property of equality says that you can add the same numbers of both sides of the equation and make the equation true. Subtraction property, you subtract same numbers. Multiplication property of equality, you multiply the same quantities on both sides. Division property of equality, you divide the same quantities on both sides of the equation to keep the equation balanced. That was lesson 2, applying properties of equality. Thanks, guys. We'll continue with the next lesson in the next video. Bye.